There's a fear a lot of us carry after 60, the worry that something might be going wrong inside your body right now, something you cannot feel. When it comes to your heart, that fear is fair. High blood pressure can climb for years without a sound. No ache, no warning. But there's a hopeful side. One ordinary thing in your kitchen taken at night may help support it. That ordinary thing is garlic, not a miracle, I promise you, but something real. And before we go on one honest note, I'm not a doctor, and nothing here replaces yours. This is information, not a prescription. So let's start where it begins, with a single clove on a cutting board. Because by the end, you'll know what one clove can truly do for your heart and your defenses, and where its limits are. If you're past 60, you already know your body keeps different hours than it used to. You wake at 3 in the morning for no reason. Your knees announce the weather. And underneath it all runs that worry. The sense that you're no longer fully in control of what's happening inside you. But the kinder reality is this. You have more say than you think. You can't always feel what your body is doing, which is exactly why your doctor checks that cuff at every visit. Yet alongside what your doctor does, the small daily habits matter far more after 60 than they did at 40. And the evening matters here for a reason. While you sleep, your body turns to repair and recovery. Offering it a small, steady bit of support in those restful hours, instead of fighting stress and traffic at noon, may simply be better timing. Not magic timing, just sensible timing. Now, 3 things in this video are going to surprise you. First, what actually forms inside a garlic clove the very moment you crush it. Second, the difference 1 clove of garlic made for a woman named Diane up in Minnesota. And third, the small mistake that quietly cancels most of the benefit, which I promise to circle back to before we finish. Let me tell you about Diane. She is 74 and she lives outside Duluth, Minnesota, where the winters run long and the colds come around like clockwork. Diane wrote to me last fall, and her note has stayed with me. For years, her blood pressure had run a little high. Not dangerous, her doctor said, but worth watching. She was already taking a low dose of medication, and she did not love the idea of adding more. A neighbor of hers, a retired nurse, mentioned that she had started having 1 clove of garlic with her evening meal. Nothing dramatic, just a small habit most nights. So Diane tried it. She crushed a single clove, let it sit, while she set the table and took it with a spoonful of yogurt so it would not trouble her stomach. What changed? Honestly, nothing she could feel overnight. But over the next couple of months at her regular checkup, her numbers had nudged in the right direction. Her doctor was pleased and kept everything else exactly the same. I want to be careful here. That 1 clove did not replace Diane's medication, and it did not fix anything on its own. It was 1 small, steady piece of a much bigger picture. That is the honest lesson, and it is the one worth holding on to. If Diane's story sounds familiar, this channel was made for you. If you find this helpful, the kindest thing you can do is subscribe. It tells YouTube to show this to more folks our age who could use it. That is all I ask. Right. Let's get to the part that surprised even me, what actually forms inside that clove. Pick up a clove of garlic and it does nothing. It just sits there quiet and ordinary. The power only appears the moment you crush it or chop it. When you break those cells, open 2 things inside, meet and react. And a compound called allicin is born. Allicin is fragile and short-lived, which is exactly why fresh crushed garlic does more for you than a jar of the pre-minced kind that has been sitting on a shelf. Allicin and its sulfur cousins are where the real story lives. Let's follow them through your body. The first stop is your blood vessels. As we age, the walls of those vessels grow stiff a little, like a hand that has been clenched so long it has forgotten how to open. Garlic's sulfur compounds help your body make more of a tiny signaling molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the messenger that tells those vessel walls to loosen and open. When they open, blood flows with less force pushing behind it, and the pressure eases. This part is not folklore. It is one of the better studied things garlic does, and I will show you the actual research in just a moment. And this is part of why the evening suits garlic. Your vessels are doing this relaxing work anyway as you wind down for the night, so a small steady nudge in the same direction lands at a natural time. The second stop is your cholesterol. There is a stubborn myth that cholesterol is grime you scrub out of a drain. It is not. Most of your cholesterol is made and managed inside your liver. Some of garlic's compounds appear to nudge that liver process, modestly lowering the amount your body produces. The word that matters there is modestly, not erased, eased. The third stop fits the night beautifully, your immune defenses. Those same allicin compounds carry a natural antibacterial and antiviral edge. For someone who seems to catch every cold that comes home from the grandchildren's school, a little support each night during the season when bugs go around may honestly help. The keyword once more is may. One thing the loud videos always skip. None of these effects are large from one clove on one night. What makes them count is repetition. The same clove most evenings for months on end. Think of it like a coin jar. A single coin means nothing. But the same coin dropped in every single night for a year becomes something you can actually see and hold. Your vessels, your cholesterol, your defenses respond to steadiness, not to one heroic dose. And steadiness is the one gift a simple kitchen habit can give you far better than a bottle of pills you keep forgetting on the shelf. You may also have heard that garlic at night will fix your sleep, flush heavy metals out of you, or rekindle your love life. I looked hard at those claims for you. The honest answer is that the evidence there is thin, drawn mostly from animals or test tubes, not from people living their lives the way you and I do. I would rather tell you that plainly than sell you a tidy story. The blood pressure, the cholesterol, the immune support, those three stand on solid ground. Let me show you the research, because this is where Hygeon is different. Most videos say studies show and move right along. I would rather give you names you can look up for yourself. For blood pressure, the strongest evidence comes from a researcher named Karin Reed. In 2016, she published an analysis in the Journal of Nutrition that pooled 20 separate trials covering around 970 people. The finding was clear. In folks with high blood pressure, garlic lowered it by a meaningful amount on the order of several points. Not a replacement for your medication, but for a humble kitchen ingredient that is genuinely respectable. For colds, there is a 2001 trial by a researcher named Peter Josling, published in a journal called Advances in Therapy. He gave 146 people either an allicin garlic capsule or a dummy one for 12 weeks through the cold season. The garlic group caught far fewer colds. 24 of them were, against 65 in the other group. Now the honest part. When the Cochrane reviewers, who are about as careful gets examined the cold evidence they found, this was really the only solid trial. One good study is encouraging. It is not the final word. I would rather you hear that straight from me than feel misled later. And that same honesty matters even more for what comes next, because garlic is not right for everyone. So who is this actually for, and who should take care? Let me lay it out, because one size never fits all of us. If your blood pressure runs high and you are not yet on medication, you may be the person who gains the most. One clove most evenings alongside the basics your doctor already wants from you is a reasonable thing to raise with them. If you catch every cold that goes around, the immune support is worth a try through the winter. Start it in the fall before the season arrives, rather than in the middle of a cold. If you are over 75 or your stomach is easily upset, start smaller. Half a clove lightly cooked instead of raw, taken with food. Raw garlic on an empty stomach at bedtime is the quickest road to a night of indigestion, and that helps no one. And if you are already on blood pressure medication, the way Diane was, the goal is never to replace anything. It is to support what is already working, and only with your doctor in the loop. Bring it up at your next visit. Just say, "I am thinking about a clove of garlic in the evenings. Is there any reason I shouldn't?" A good doctor will give you a straight answer. Now the practical part. And this is where I keep my promise about that mistake. There is one step most people skip. After you crush or chop the clove, let it rest on the board for about 10 minutes before you eat it or cook with it. That pause is not fussiness. Remember the allicin, the compound that forms when you break the cell open. It needs those few minutes to develop fully. Crush it and swallow it at once, or throw it straight into a hot pan, and you cancel much of what you came for. 10 minutes on the cutting board. That is the part that makes the difference, and almost no one mentions it. How much one clove may be two in an evening. More is not better. More is how you end up with heartburn. Raw is the most potent. But if raw garlic is too sharp for you, a light cooking after that 10-minute rest keeps most of the good and is far easier on you. A cup of warm garlic tea, one crushed clove steeped in hot water. Suits some people too. And the timing. About 30 minutes before bed gives your body room to settle. Pair it with a little food, a cracker or a spoon of yogurt, so your stomach stays content through the night. Before we finish the honest limits, because I could not leave these out, if you take a blood thinner like warfarin or even a daily aspirin, garlic can add to that effect and raise your risk of bleeding. The evidence is mixed, but it is real enough that surgeons ask patients to stop garlic before an operation. If you take medication for diabetes, garlic may lower your blood sugar further, so keep an eye on that. And if garlic gives you heartburn or reflux, then this simply is not for you. Please talk with your doctor first. So what does garlic at night really do? It will not fix you overnight, and anyone who promises that is selling something. But as one small, steady habit, it may support your blood pressure, your heart, and your defenses, especially through a long winter. That is not a miracle. It is something better. It is true. If this helped you today, please subscribe and tell me down in the comments, will you give the evening clove a try? I would truly love to know. Take good care of yourself, my friend. I will see you in the next one.